Some ancient structures are impressive, others are mysterious, but some seem to defy logic entirely. Carved into cliffs, balanced on volcanic towers, perched high above valleys where construction should have been impossible. These are structures that shouldn't exist today, and yet they still stand. Here are 10 ancient structures that defy gravity, time, and explanation. On the coast of modern-day Spain lies the Tarraco Amphitheatre. Built in the 2nd century, this massive Roman arena was carved directly into coastal rock overlooking the Mediterranean. For nearly 2,000 years, it has endured earthquakes, invasions, and the slow erosion of sea air. How a structure so exposed, so vulnerable to the elements, still remains partially intact is remarkable. Time should have claimed it, but it still stands. Deep in Mexico stands El Tajín. Its most famous structure, the Pyramid of the Niches, contains 365 carefully carved recesses, possibly aligned with the solar calendar. But what makes it extraordinary is its survival. The region is prone to heavy rainfall, thick jungle growth, and centuries of abandonment. Yet its precise stone geometry remains visible today. In a climate that should have swallowed it whole, El Tajín persists. Near Aswan, Egypt, the Temple of Philae once stood on a small island in the Nile. Flooded repeatedly over centuries, it survived rising waters, political collapse, and environmental damage. In the 20th century, it was painstakingly relocated stone by stone to save it. But the fact that it endured long enough to be rescued at all is astonishing. Few ancient structures survive constant flooding. Philae did. Rising above the Guatemalan rainforest, Temple IV at Tikal towers more than 200 feet into the sky. Built in the 8th century by the Maya, it remains one of the tallest ancient structures in the Americas. But what makes it remarkable is its setting. Deep in dense jungle, far from modern infrastructure, every limestone block had to be quarried, transported, and lifted by hand. Over centuries, the rainforest tried to reclaim it. Roots split through stone, humidity eroded its surface. The canopy swallowed entire cities. Yet Temple IV still breaks through the treetops, standing above the jungle that once buried it. In a climate designed to erase history, it survived. Carved directly into towering cliffs near Luxor, the Temple of Hatshepsut appears almost fused with the mountain behind it. Built over 3,400 years ago, its terraces rise in perfect symmetry against sheer rock. Earthquakes, political turmoil, and deliberate attempts to erase Hatshepsut's legacy failed to destroy it completely. The cliff should have crumbled. The structure should have collapsed. But it remains, balanced between architecture and nature. If structures like these fascinate you, places that seem to defy time itself, make sure to subscribe, because the deeper we explore ancient history, the more impossible it becomes. In Iran stands the ruins of Persepolis. Built atop an immense stone terrace, the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire was designed to dominate the surrounding plains. Though burned and conquered, its massive columns and stone platforms still rise from the earth. The scale of its foundations, lifted high above ground level, makes its endurance even more impressive. Empires fell, but parts of Persepolis remain. In Cambodia, Phnom Bakheng rises atop a steep hill overlooking Angkor. Constructed in the 9th century, it was built as a temple mountain, symbolizing the cosmic Mount Meru. Each stone had to be hauled up the hill by hand. Today, it still crowns the summit. Centuries of monsoon rains and jungle growth have not erased it. It was placed high above the land, and it still commands the horizon. In Colorado, the cliff palace of Mesa Verde clings to a massive sandstone alcove. Built by the ancestral Puebloans over 700 years ago, it is tucked beneath an overhanging cliff face. Access required climbing steep rock walls. Transporting materials there would have been incredibly difficult. Yet the structure remains remarkably intact, protected by the cliff and hidden from time. In the Czech Republic, the fortress of Trosky stands atop two volcanic rock towers. Separated by a deep chasm, the towers were fortified with stone structures in the 14th century. The very foundations rest on near-vertical basalt pillars. Wind, weather, and war have battered the site, yet it still dominates the skyline. Suspended between two jagged peaks, it looks less built and more impossible. High on a sheer cliff in Bhutan clings Taktsang Palphug Monastery, the tiger's nest. Perched over 3,000 feet above the valley floor, it appears almost glued to the rock face. According to legend, it was founded in the 8th century. How materials were transported to such a height remains staggering to consider. One misstep would mean a deadly fall. And yet, for centuries, it has remained anchored to the mountain, a structure that seems to defy gravity itself. If any ancient site shouldn't exist today, it may be this one. From desert plateaus to volcanic towers, from flooded islands to sheer cliff faces, these ancient structures continue to challenge what we believe was possible. Which one do you think is the most unbelievable? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.